Hello, this is the start of a new series about Mercury through the houses, and I thought we'd just talk about Mercury a little bit first and get to know what it actually indicates. So, in the natural zodiac, Mercury rules uh, third house and sixth house, Gemini and Virgo. So they're both of them are actually dual houses. One is air sign, Gemini. The other one is an earth sign, which is Virgo. So they're both very, very important houses. They're both Upachaya houses, which means they're big time, and once you start working with them, they start to get better. And this is really very much indicative of what Mercury is, because Sun is the king, Moon is the queen, and this is their son, their child. So there is, wherever we have in our charts Mercury, we are slightly immature about it, because obviously this is about young children, kids, youth, adolescents, students. So this is all very much about the process of growing and things in wherever. Then once we apply ourselves, things get better. So there is a naivety about the house that Mercury resides in our chart. So I thought we'd just have a look and just see, what kind of things are indications for Mercury. So Mercury is obviously communication, because it rules the third house of natural zodiac. So you're born in the first, in the second one, obviously you're with family, you start to speak. And then third house is you start to move, express yourself, communicate what your needs are. So it's very much about self-expression, and you start using your hands and gestures. So as a baby, you see that they know what it is to say goodbye. They just, if they don't like something, they can use their hands and just like push the food away if they don't want to. So it's very much about like learning to let the others how you are feeling, and that actually never leaves you. And we know, all of us in life, that people who have the most fulfilling lives and relationships are the people who can actually express themselves fully, let the people know they kind of know, they know their own boundaries. They just know how, when things doesn't sound right, they can just communicate it. And those are friends and family members that we respect most, because we know that if they don't want to do anything, they can't be persuaded really, and they know themselves, they know their mind. Sometimes they're a little bit willful, but nonetheless, though, it's not a bad thing. So it actually rules Mercury rules friends, siblings, communication, any form of communication, rules the arts, rules things like intellect. I think Sun is intelligence and Mars is logic, but Mercury is practical and intellectual, and that's, I think, one of the things that Sage Gemini says about the sixth house, is that it's an important sign of the zodiac, because it's like literally how you get by day to day, how you manage yourself, manage your life, manage your money. Without a good Mercury, people can hoard, people can't, they just cannot, they become like victims of their own weakness, if you like, in relationships, in jobs, etc., where they can't express themselves, and people think that they're okay with the status quo, and then there's just misunderstanding going on there. So it is a very, very important thing. But obviously, both third and sixth house, there are Upachaya houses, so they do get better with time. But generally speaking, because it rules friends, neighbours, siblings, and your colleagues as well, so it's literally is how we kind of interact with people, friendships, associates, those kind of things are all very mercurial things. Mercury rules currency, stock exchange, stock market. It any kind of work which is paperwork, like clerical work, learning, students, schools, any form of travel, moving around, exercise, being active, being out and about, hobbies and interests. I mean, it's such an important planet. Jobs to do with computer as well, so any form of technology, mobile phones, computers, satellite dishes, anything like that is all to do with graphic design, marketing, visual arts generally, things you make with your hands, any form of talents and skills, courses that you do to learn things that then they can apply to your life. All of those are to do with your third house, which is all to do with Mercury. So Mercury is siblings, and obviously in the third house, it's also your will and your bravery as well, because this is when you've been born, you start to talk, then you start to express yourself, and you start to become brave. This is probably the time when your brother or sister, younger or older brother and sister, they come and take your toy away, and you have to fight for your toy, because this is like, no, this is mine. So you have to be brave and tell the person no, set boundaries and allow them, or if they do something wrong, you kind of brave it and say, don't do it, don't touch my toy, don't eat my sweets, things like that. So it's that kind of thing as well. It says also it rules fast food, because it's a fast moving planet, and so this is when you meet up with friends, go for a cafe, go to their coffee shop, have a coffee, and maybe an express sort of food like sandwiches and pizza. All those sort of takeaway foods, fast foods, are all ruled by Mercury. So, and it's obviously travel, but short distance travel is ruled by Mercury. And so this is the reason why when you're actually working, because Mercury likes to be busy, and is curious as a planet. So when you actually get really stuck on a project, it's really good to start moving. Just go for a short walk or make yourself a drink and just move around a little bit, and that kind of helps Mercury, develop things. It's strong in the first house, so it gets directional strength in the first house. But it also means that in the first house there is things that needs to be developed, because wherever Mercury is in our chart, that's where we are a little bit young about it, a bit naive and immature maybe even about it, because we don't really, it's a young thing, it's a young planet, and it needs to develop over time, and things just get better with time. However, in the first house, it will always have that real focus. From there, it will be aspecting your seventh house, so it indicates that you want to be with somebody, because Mercury also rules games and having fun, doing fun things, comedy, being comedic, jokes, things like that. So it likes a bit of banter. And so when it's aspect in the seventh house, you want to be with somebody who maybe was your friend, you can be friendly with, you can chat to, you can have a laugh with, and do like fun things together, like go to dance classes together, or you go to, I don't know, go to walking groups, or just kind of interact, go to the cinema together, travel together quite a lot. They like that. They like somebody who's active. They go maybe to hikes and go skiing together and things like that. So these will be very important to them. And it also rules kind of interaction in terms of business and commerce. It's all ruled by by Mercury as well. Mercury does make the person, particularly if it's strong in their chart, multi-talented, because they want to know a little bit about everything. And you find that when you have Mercury Dasha or Mahadasha, as Mahadasha or the Subdasha, Antardasha, you actually get interested in all forms of different things. If it falls like in your, because it's data and information, and particularly if it falls in your 8th house during a Dasha, you want to do research to gain more information. You're just hungry for information. And it rules as a planet, obviously 3rd house rules your hands, your arms and shoulders, and in the 6th house rules your digestive system. And so, and the Mercury in the first house or anything like that will actually, you also kind of notice that he has got third and sixth house indications as well, but obviously in different houses that house indications will come into it as well. So Mercury does really well obviously in Gemini because it rules Gemini, and it also rules Virgo. Virgo is not just own house, but at 15 degrees is actually also the exaltation degree of Mercury. And from 15 to 20 degrees, it's actually, I probably say the rest of it, it's like more Trachona sign, which means like the head office of very comfortable there. And it also is debilitated in Pisces. And obviously, you know, Mercury is friendly with the Sun, Venus and Saturn and Rahu, Ketu. But it very much struggles with Jupiter and also with Mars. These are the two planets that are not good with for Mercury. Mercury does, if it is close to Saturn, it will have issues because obviously it means that it develops even later. There's a shyness about it, has difficulty expressing itself, and there's always like, particularly because it is also a planet that's it's an earthy planet, even though it rules an air sign and an earth sign, but generally speaking it is an earthy sign. It likes material things, and so when it is in earthy signs, it can have a jealousy issue as well, because it is the green-eyed thing as well, you know, because it's immature about things, so it can have like those things as well. So so generally speaking though, if it is in an earthy sign or in earthy planet nakshatras, person has got to really work in order to move forward, not to actually be hung up on what other people have or what other people did, and actually just free themselves of all that and then just move themselves forward. Because when you work with Mercury really well, Mercury gives you a lot of things in life because it's a fun planet, and why wouldn't you want to have all the fun in your life? So, and obviously this is going to be about a sort of like a Mercury that's not in conjunction or aspected by any planets. I'm just going to give you the purest form, and it naturally also rules the skin and rules respiratory system and also your nervous system and allergies. So you often find when it is either in transit or in a dasha, or if in your chart naturally is actually in, say, in Jupiter sign or in Mars signs. In Mars, it will give you inflammation of the skin, so you have to really kind of, as with anything, it gets better with time. You know, because Mars is impulsive, and obviously this is Mercury's planet of speech, so it can give you reactive, impulsive speech. You say things without thinking, because that's what Mars does. You know, sort of agitates Mercury, and that can happen with conjunction, aspect, or Mercury sitting in Mars's sign. So that can happen. That can happen the opposite as well if Mars is in Mercury signs too. When it is with Jupiter, or in Jupiter nakshatras, or in Jupiter signs, or Jupiter also in Mercury signs, they're opposites, and they really are very different agenda. So Mercury is a bit gossipy, and it's a little bit fickle because it's a planet of fast moving. It's young, and obviously, you know, Jupiter is wisdom, the wise one, the older one, you know. So and so there is like a gender issue there. So that can also, because also what happens with Jupiter expands everything as well. So you'll find that the person who has that, they can't stop talking. And sometimes even if it's happening in, like, say, for example, in transit, you can't help yourself but just like over talking. It's such a chatty, or if Rahu does the same thing, expands like the speech, but not in a bad way. But with Jupiter it does, because Jupiter just can't stop it, because it expands it. And Jupiter can be a little bit like what's the Jupiter is a little bit like I know best kind of thing. So it gives that kind of it projects that onto Mercury as well, so things come out like that. And sometimes it creates problems with the nervous system. And obviously because Jupiter rules liver, we can actually start having liver issues. So we have to be careful about those kind of things. Be just working on our planets, because remember, our planets are us. It's how we. So once you can actually work with wisdom with everything. But I really do think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to use your chart really well to your advantage. So. Obviously, because it rules your respiratory system, some of the remedies with Mercury are really easy. So I think Mercury always does better if you got afflicted Mercury, is to always be aware that you need to exercise, you need to be active, and you need to spend time with friends and cousins as well, because six houses, cousins and aunts and things like that. So. And you just want to be like, so do connect with people, do join groups if they are interested in cooking, do a cooking class, carpentry, things like that, because they can be very multi-talented. And it really does you good to do some breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, things like that, but particularly breathing, just learning to breathe. And because it rules the respiratory system, and that really, the oxygenation really helps your digestive system, because it rules the digestive system. And normally Mercury, sixth house Mercury has got issues, but if it's or sixth house or Mercury, or it gives you digestive issues. So you can have all those things like candida and Crohn's disease and things like that can occur because of that. So by oxygenating and slowing things down, it can really help. Just taking, using the best in best things in life. So just wanted to say also, so wherever Mercury is, it will also aspect 7 houses away only. That's the only time. And so what will happen is those areas of your life, you do well to share them with friends. And it kind of, because it's also a benefic planet, it really helps kind of have an approach with it that that things will improve. Mercury is the only planet that changes its nature according to the planets that it sits with. So if it's conjunct malefics like Rahu, Ketu, Sun, Mars or Saturn, it does become malefic. And also, so its nature can be a little bit negative. And also the other thing I wanted to say was that it's I only take 8 degrees away from the sun as a combustion, because it's a planet that is friendly with the sun and travels with the sun and Venus normally. So therefore, it can actually work really, really well with the sun, as long as within 8 degrees. Obviously, if it's retrograde, then you have to really kind of take maybe 10 degrees. But generally speaking, it does work okay with the sun. It gives good intelligence as long as both of them are ruling good houses for you. But yeah, so the house that they're in, they're definitely going to be, if it is on its own, then it's going to be really good. So anyway, that's about Mercury. Hello, thank you for joining me. So Mercury in the 4th house. So you've had a little bit of indication about Mercury, and Mercury is actually an earthy planet. It does work really well when it's grounded, and I know that it's got like also in the natural zodiac, it rules an airy sign as well. But generally speaking, Saturn is more the airy planet, and Mercury is the earthy planet. So because of that stability that needs, actually, when it goes into an angle, it does perform quite well, because even if it's debilitated or whatever it is, it over time it does get better. And that's what angles are really. Angles are like our pillars are our life, and they become quite a focus. And obviously from there, from fourth house, Mercury is going to be aspecting your 10th house as well. So it's quite an important placement, this one. So if we go through like the fourth house, so we know that fourth house is like, it's naturally is obviously Cancer, and obviously it's emotions, feelings and memories, how you've been nurtured, how you've been nourished, your mums. So it's like how you've been mothered, and how you will mother as well if you're a female, or even a male, how you will actually nurture your child. Excuse me. And obviously this is your family education, family traditions, and your home environment, and mother's nature, the food and traditions that she gives you, and you then pass on, and how you receptive you are, how you react to situations, things like that. Those are all kind of fourth house. Now we're gonna talk about a Mercury that is good condition. No, I mean in the sense that it's got no aspects to it, benefic or malefic, and it has no conjunctions either way. So this is planet of communication is going into your home, your fourth house. So this will be how you deal with family stuff really. So, and your home environment. So it will be like how you deal with family, how you organize your life, how you plan for your life, how chatty your mum is. So, I mean, obviously it will be quite chatty with chatty mum, good at communication and very expressive as well. And this will be a lady, or as a person, you'll be somebody who will be good at balancing the books, if you like, the bookkeeper, because Mercury is numbers, so they'll be very good at planning, and generally speaking, particularly if Mercury is in good condition, it's a good planet for you, you'll be able to do really, really well in terms of dealing with like accounts of the home, like home taxes and things like that. You just be really good at dealing with things to do with that, organising the household, and even work and career as well, because it's obviously a benefic aspect in your 10th house. And it's a planet of multitasking. So this as your mother will be great at doing that, and she'll be really thinking about everybody in the family as well, her own family, and her siblings, parents, and you as her sibling, I'm sorry, as your child, and her other children, generally speaking. So will be really kind of a great manager, will balance things nicely and make sure everything in the family is doing well, if in good condition. And obviously fourth house is also your happiness, and so it shows the mother's happiness. So mother will be happy, you will be happy if you're communicating, and obviously depending on what houses Mercury rules for you, what areas of life gives that happiness as well. So fourth house, actually, generally speaking, is your homeland as well. Often when you have a malefic in what will be fourth house or Cancer, you will be moving away from your homeland. So often, it actually, you can look at Cancer for this as well. So even if, particularly like somebody like a Taurus ascendant, if they have a malefic in Cancer, because it's also 12th houses from the fourth house, then they will be moving abroad. But generally speaking, this is homeland as well. So the mother and yourself will be really very much thinking about your family that you have left behind, your homeland, your country, and you are concerned about their well-being and everything as well. So your happiness and balance and all of that will come from knowing that everybody in the family and your country is doing well. They could be quite patriotic if it's in good condition. So you can see mum is fully respected at home and obviously at work as well. So because it's a mother who can have the balance and the same as you in both 4th and 10th house environment. Don't forget, because 10th house is 7th houses from your 4th. It's also indicative of your father as well. So your parents would have had a really nice, friendly way of, particularly if he's in good condition. So you can see that they're quite friendly, they're like chatty, they like to be quite a couple that like to be busy doing things, because Mercury is a busy planet and it's fast moving, so it's always moving, likes to be that's why if that is your Atmakarka, it's just so important to keep moving, to get that balance in your Mercury, really. And Mercury being a fast moving planet, when you work on it, it does give you back so much so quickly. And mom and you can not only help the obviously immediate family and neighbors and everything else, but there's like an awareness and manageability of life and awareness, because it's a planet that can deal with a lot of things as well. And obviously they use their intellect and their planning and organizing skills to just like nourish and nurture people, and they can also work from home, or they can work in property, land, real estate, things like that, management of property letting, things like that, or big car dealers and things as well. That could be because it's obviously aspect in the 10th house. And there will be they kind of, if that is the case, sometimes it could also be if there is like there is some engineering thing going on with Mars being like something like that. It could be like car mechanics, things like that too. So, and basically, if it's in bad condition, it could be somebody who can't plan and organize things, and they could be hoarders. So this will be hoarding things in their home and hoarding emotions as well, because obviously Moon rules the natural 4th house. So, and 4th house is the mother. So mother could be hoarder and emotionally tangled up in things too. So you can, and it shows that somebody can be quite disorganized and things like that. But because this is an angle, it does get better with time. The more the person applies themselves, the better it becomes. And obviously 4th house, because it's also aspect in the 10th house, you kind of, as you work with it, it will rise the person's status in a sense too. This also, because Mercury is good at sort of dealing, communicating, everything else, can make one really good negotiator as well. So if they are kind of in they can apply that to their work, where they're negotiating good prices for buying land or properties or cars and things like that too. And it could be that they are, interior design or DIY too, depending on what Mars is doing too. And because obviously it is like home environment, and now you've got a fast moving planet in there, and particularly if the sign is ruled by a fast moving planet. So these people can, for work, they could be moving around quite a lot, or they could have a busy mum who is constantly visiting different people and traveling, or you could be like that too. There's an indication for everybody being very overly busy. And the thing that I like to just mention as well, so the natural 4th house of the zodiac is ruled by the moon, so this got indications of the moon there. And so when Mercury and moon come together, it can give a really, really busy mind, overthinking, overdoing things all the time, multitasking a bit too much. And so it really is to your benefit to really, really do the pulling away as often as you can, or like go on holiday, take a vacation somewhere where you can just literally put your mobile phone things away and just allow yourself to, you know, because it can, after a while, particularly if it's got anything to do, if it's in, you know, it can exhaust you, and, you know, all those things that can give you allergies, you know, think about all the things Mercury rules. It can give you palpitations, you know, difficulty breathing, you know, like stress, you know, and Mercury and Moon together can give the person anxiety, because it's just like, it's just too much going on. So it's good to go easy with everything. And yeah, so if it is like, if it's in an unfriendly house, it could be that it's somebody who starts lots of different things but never really see their fruition. They don't complete things. And so, but you know, you got to just think that this is a fast moving planet, so all things to do with remedies will be quite quick. So as the more you do it, the better it will become. So, and this will just indicate that things to do with mental health and feelings and emotions are the remedy is there. So you need to share, you need to offload some of the things. Sharing is caring, and sharing a problem is halving the problem. So this is the remedy is within it. So thank you for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.